My name's Ronald Copley. I'm kind of weird, kind of nerdy. I'm a independent filmmaker. There's a lot of challenges that you wouldn't even think of. I mean, not only am I an independent filmmaker, but I'm an independent filmmaker at a high school level. I mean, you tend to think of independent filmmakers at college or beyond. I mean, you don't even imagine them below that. Just some of the challenges you will face. I mean, equipment. If you look at the picture on the left, that would be what I would like to be shooting on. Image on the right is what I'm actually shooting on. You can see there's kind of a difference there. I mean, it's not bad equipment, but I mean, there's still kind of a funding issue that a lot of people see. These are some past projects I've worked on. I haven't directed any of these. These were just out of coincidence. These were all directed by Miles Price. He's right there. I mean, the biggest challenge, I mean, I have a stack of scripts on my desk, and that's something a couple years ago I wouldn't even thought of. I mean, just to think that there's so much work that goes into putting together a full production, it's just unimaginable. This is just a peek at some of the paperwork that goes along with filmmaking. I mean, from the audio end to the video to pre-production, from taking something from your mind, getting it to paper, and really getting it written down is a huge challenge to keep a paper trail, to make sure all that is consistent. Just some images of some locations I've shot at. Locations provide a lot of challenges. I'll go ahead and speak to the challenges those provide later, but I mean, you can just see some of the issues. I mean, trying to coordinate as a high school student, going up to someone you may have never even spoken to before and say, can I use your building, or can I use this room for filming for a day? I mean, that can pose some challenges, as I'm pretty sure a lot of us in this room can imagine. Funding, I mean, I had heard that there's a lot of startups in the room. I mean, startups today at least have some footing, I believe. You know, I'm not in the same standing as a lot of you guys are, but I mean, I can imagine there's some leverage with funding. As a high school student, I can't walk into a bank and ask for a loan. I mean, you can imagine that can kind of cause some problems. So looking at a specific film that I worked on, I was actually audio lead on this one. This is The Things Unsaid, 2 months of filming, about 875 man hours and 45 hours of automated dialogue replacement. If you don't know what that is, that's a painstaking process where you have to go in the audio side and fix problems that were messed up. And along with that comes a lot of paperwork. So the issues that come in on the paperwork side, I mean, there's just a stack of paperwork that comes in each day. I mean, in order to pull out a camera, often you need to file a report with the camera owner or keep consistent logs so when you finish taping, you actually know what's on the tape. And that can take up a lot of time and really put a strain on the creative side of filmmaking. But at the same time, I mean, without these logs, I mean, you would just be lost. I'm sure a lot of people working in offices can understand the importance of maintaining consistent paper trail. Locations, as I said, is a huge issue. I mean, with this film in particular, we had a lot of locations being dropped on us literally the day before we were supposed to shoot. We were getting calls at 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, we had this location drop out on us. Do you know where we can tape? We're supposed to be on set in 7 hours. So, I mean, that poses a lot of issues. Just as far as on a time strain, you need to keep everything moving. You have an entire crew waiting for a phone call to be told where to go. And a lot of times you're paying for those crews. Just on a side note, this film was made for under $1,000, which was kind of interesting to think. This was a 45-minute feature-length, almost feature-length film that was made on literally a shoestring budget. And they actually turned a profit on that. Distribution, they were really limited on how they could distribute. They distributed clips online to raise hype, raise attention. They distributed DVDs and considered sending it off to some film festivals. So, I mean, really, you got to think of pre-production is your planning period. You have to make sure that all your paperwork gets in line. You got to make sure you have just lesson learned. You got to make sure you keep locations and backup for those locations. You got to plan big, but never expect to have the budget to shoot big. And really, it's just about staying on top of the project. If you let it fall behind, that project will never get off the ground. My name is Ronald Copley. There's some contact information there and some past projects I've worked on.
Great. So you guys